Hello, Emerson. Welcome to our third part in our four-part series of Better Know a Retiree. Today, Kicking It with Kennedy. Hope you enjoy. All right, so thank you for joining me on this third installment of Get to Know a Retiree. So I guess my first question is, how long have you been teaching overall? Not just at Emerson, but overall?
I started teaching in 1981. So I think, do the math. I think this would be my 38th year of teaching.
Yeah, and 1981, that is the year I was born.
Uh,
I'll edit that out, don't worry. So over those years, how many did you teach outside of D64? And then have you always been at Emerson since it opened?
so yes, I'm one of the original Emerson teachers that came in when the building was built in, was it 98?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been at Emerson since it opened up. And it's always been my classroom. 161 has always been my classroom.
Wow.
So when I went in yesterday and packed it up for the last time, I sat there a moment and tried not to be sad about it, but just remembered so many fun and happy things that happened in that room over the last 22 years.
Oh man, I can imagine. Where did you teach before Emerson?
So I taught in Iowa for 16 years, teaching mostly high school and a little bit of middle school thrown in there too. And so in those years, I was busy doing the high school musical in the evening and working with choirs and getting them ready for festivals. But I always had some experience with middle school students. And there's just something about them that always, was fun. It was always fun. And just to see them grow up from sixth graders through seventh graders to eighth graders. And so when I moved to Chicago, I had a teaching job in a Catholic school teaching K through 8. And again, had those upper grades and taught 3 years there. And again, when I was looking for another job, I was thinking, middle school is for me. And as Emerson was being built, they needed to staff it with some new teachers. And that's where I came in. And I remember those first few months, it was like Christmas, because every day new packages would show up because they had spent, how many years planning and coordinating and ordering, and everything was brand new. So that's one of my big first year stories of Emerson. It's just everything was new.
Yeah, it sounds, every day having a new box sounds like my porch right now. So what do you think you're going to miss most looking back on all those years?
I think the people, whether it be the students or the adults too, just being around people all the time, and so many of them. One of the great things about Emerson is I've seen it grow from a little over 600 to almost 900. And so those numbers keep growing. But just being around a big group of people. In fact, that's what I miss most about this, online teaching, is just not being in a room full of people and being able to engage and talk and laugh and smile and that sort of thing. And the adults, the Emerson staff is just one of the best in so many ways. I have so many good memories and so many stories that just make me smile.
What overall was your favorite class to teach? I know you do music, but like within music, what was your favorite class that you got to teach?
It probably has to be music theater workshop. The acting and singing part was just one of those things that people who pick that class definitely want to be on stage and perform. And so it was always fun to have a good chunk of the kids, are the kind that have this aspiration to be an actor and be on stage and perform. And there's just a great chance to show off their talent. But what my favorite part of that class was always that little bit, maybe a quarter of the class that walked into it a little bit hesitant, not sure if they wanted to really be on stage and in front of people. When I'd ask them at the start of the trimester what role they thought they would be, they said, well, I might be the curtain puller. I want to be the spotlight person or something like that. But it was always just fascinating to see over the weeks as they progressed. And we would cast the show. We would do our half-hour scenes from a musical. And, I'd usually give everyone at least a line or two, even if they just wanted to be curtain puller or spotlight person. And occasionally those people would come up to me and say, I only have one line. Can I do more? And those were the kids that just made it so fun to see them take a step forward out of their comfort level. And one of my favorite stories was 8 or 10 years ago. One of the leads was sick the day of our performance. And it was a boy who had a solo, had a bunch of lines. And usually I say, okay, who can do the part? I will give you a script and you can just stand there and read the lines and we'll skip the song. Well, I had a boy come up to me who'd been in the chorus, had a few lines, and he says, you know what? I know all the lines and I can sing the song. I was like, what? And so we did a quick run and it's like, he did a great job of it. And boom, we did it live and he stepped up and it was just, that's one of those great moments in that class.
Wow.
But another reason I like to teach this class, because I see the quote future stars of whether Maine East or Maine South. And it's just always such a fun thing to go to those performances and see them as juniors or seniors in a lead, and think back, I had them in 7th or 8th graders as just starters there. And then oftentimes I live in the city and go to a lot of shows, and probably 5 or 6 times I've sat in the audience before a show starts, open the program, look down and startled because it's one of my former students that's in this show.
Wow.
So that's always been great to see that they, maybe I planted a little seed in 7th grade and then they progressed through adulthood and are acting and singing.
So switching gears, but staying into music, what was your favorite piece of music that you've done with any chorus ensemble or anything like that?
So this year being my last year of teaching, I programmed all the concerts to have songs that were like some of my favorites over the last 30 plus years. And so one of them that I chose is called Why We Sing. And I think just about every concert I programmed, there was always some song about the joy of singing, the joy of music, performing, something like that. But this one, really touched me. It was one of my favorite songs when we did it probably 8 or 10 years ago. I've done it as a singer in a chorus too. I've heard many choruses and soloists do it. And I guess, the words are, for the most part, this is why we sing, why we lift our voice, why we sing as one in harmony. And it was just one of those moments that, I was expecting to be part of my last concert and remember that. But that Why We Sing, my favorite song.
All right. So overall, looking back at your time just at Emerson since it opened, what is your favorite memory of your Emerson career?
It goes back to I was teaching a keyboarding class, electronic keyboarding class. It was 3rd trimester, and it was an 8th grade group. And one of the fascinating things about middle school is seeing them as 3.5 foot 6th graders to become 6'3" 8th graders. So I had 2 very tall boys in the back sitting next to each other at the piano keyboards. And I'm talking and explaining something, and I could tell something was up. As we all know, when something is up, we all figure that out, that, okay, something's going on back there. I should check it out. Uh-huh. And as I'm walking past, I noticed they were passing something back and forth to each other. I thought, oh, what is this going to be? And so I put out my hand and held it out until they put whatever it was they were passing back and forth into my hand. And I looked down, and it was a Matchbox car. They were running this little Matchbox car up and down the keys of their piano keyboard. And and again, that just reminded me they're just kids. They are just kids that just like to play. And so yesterday when I was cleaning out my desk, as many of us have, and if you recall in what is the movie, A Christmas Story, when the teacher opens the drawer to her desk and it's full of stuff she's taken away from kids. Well, yeah. I had my collection of bouncy balls and those little skateboards. And again, I've always told people after I've taken them away, come back after school and pick it up. And some of them never picked it up. And so I had all this great stuff to play with.
So what do you plan on doing with your retirement? I hear you like to travel.
Yes, I do like to travel. That's one of my top things on my list of things to do. One of the things, I have a brother and a sister in California. And so I planned, and then who knows what the winter will hold, is to spend at least a month or two out in California with them. And I think they might be a little hesitant when I show up at their door and say, I'm going to stay a month. I may or may not stay that long, but I do want to spend some time where the weather is a little bit better.
Up in like Napa or LA?
One's in San Diego and one's in Palm Springs. Oh, man, so Southern California.
What's the best place you've been, your favorite destination to travel?
Barcelona, Spain. And again, I just mentioned California, but Barcelona is right on the coast. And just again, reminds me of California, Palm Springs, beaches. But you know, the architecture is amazing. And just, you know, Spain is one of my favorite countries to go to. So Barcelona, top of my list there.
Of places you haven't been but you'd like to go, what are you most looking forward to being able to have the opportunity to go to now?
Probably Australia and New Zealand. Those seem like such faraway places. One of the things I discovered a few years ago, I was talking to a person at a party, and he had said he had just gotten back from a trip around the world. And so I questioned him more about it, and I found out that for a flat fee, which is not an outrageous price, that I found out you can buy a ticket that'll give you a year to travel around the world. You have to pick one direction, east or west, and you can go north or south in so many, as much as you want. So mentally, I already have my trip planned. You know, leaving Chicago, going to Mexico, into South America, across to Australia, New Zealand, up through Asia, into Russia, a little bit of Europe, some of Europe that I haven't seen, little touch of Africa, and then back home.
Wow.
So that's my imaginary trip if I could do this and take a year and get away from that.
I remember you saying that you would love to do something in retirement, and that is to play piano at a Mariano's. Do you plan to try and do that?
I do. I still go in there, and they still have piano players occasionally, not as much as they used to. But yes, one of the things I would like to do, and I have a big list of things I want to do in retirement. But that's one of those possibilities. I feel like some of the time now that I'm home so much and I'm sitting in front of my piano, especially on the nice days, those windows are open, and then the whole neighborhood's hearing me play. So I guess it's a little bit of practice for that.
Do you plan on making to continue making your own music, like writing your own music, or?
I sing in a chorus, in an adult community chorus. So I'm planning on continue doing that. I've been assistant director of that group for the last few years. So occasionally when our regular director is unavailable, I've had some opportunities to do some big special events. We sang for the White Sox, Star Spangled Banner in 2000, 20 years ago. And then I've been lucky enough to conduct concerts at Millennium Park and Navy Pier too. So that's one of the things I definitely plan to do. But again, Chicago's such a great place. There's so many opportunities of things I could do. So whether it be the symphony or the opera or Chicago Shakespeare, they all have some sort of educational outreach program that I'd still like to do that. Other things, Misericordia, the community for people with special needs, is not that far from my house. If I could do something volunteer or music wise there, I think that would be great. Um, you know, I have a colleague that does works with kids in juvenile detention centers in composing, and I think something like that just sounds fascinating. It just sounds like doing something really just so different and interesting too.
You sang with Hugh Jackman when he came to town, I believe at the United Center. What was that like, and how did it come about?
Um, I guess we thank social media for that. We were at rehearsal one night. One of the choir members just raised his hand and said, on his Twitter feed, Hugh Jackman's coming to town and he's looking for choirs to be his backup singers. And so he responded and offered up our group, and we got the gig, which just that in itself is fascinating, the story. But then, so yes, we did 3 songs with him: A Million Dreams, a Les Mis medley, and a song from a musical called Dear Evan Hansen called You Will Be Found. And imagine, I think we all maybe have these fantasy of being in front of at the home plate in front of thousands of people, or in a stadium, or at an arena, or whatever, being on stage for a large crowd. And that was it. That was it actually happening, to stand on the stage in the United Center with, I think they said 20-some thousand people. It was a full house. And so that was a huge, huge thrill.
What's your favorite song or band, artist to listen to?
I'm probably going to admit I'm just like the kids. It changes all the time. I'm always surveying every trimester students what their favorite singer is and such. And it's always different. And again, because being around young people like that, I'm up on current music. And trends, I mean, so I can't say there's really a particular one that's my favorite.
Okay. And I guess finally, if you could collaborate with any musical artist, band, musician, who would it be and why? If they have a song, it's whoever featuring Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah. Okay, I've used this line in my digital music lab class, but I would like to work with Post Malone. Why? Because I want to show him that you can write a song with more than 2 chords and more than 4 notes.
Really teaching.
Yes, really interesting music, but it just needs some enhancement and some little more education, a little broaden his horizons of notes and harmony too. But in terms of honest answer, I think I would like to do something theater wise. I think I'd like to I don't know, probably back behind the scenes, either directing or musical directing or conducting an orchestra for a musical. I think that would be a great thing to do.
Wow, that would be kind of cool, actually. Well, I guess that's the last question I have. Thank you for taking the time with me today. And I mean, as getting to know you a little bit better the last couple of years as your co-homeroom, it was wonderful. You were always there for the kids, always doing what was right, leading by example. And I know I think I speak for everyone at Emerson when I say we're going to miss you, Mr. Kennedy, and that music department, that room, just it'll feel a little different come next year.
Well, thank you very, very much. And again, I can't say enough to the whole Emerson community. It has been just great. I left yesterday with a smile on my face just because I had so many good memories. I could look down those halls and just remember the times when I forgot lunch and Julie Flack would say, "Here, I have plenty of extra food," or he could put a call out for who has 8x10 fuchsia hard cardstock. and you'd get 10 responses for things like that. So it's really as a family and a community that everyone looks out for each other and gives us whatever we need. So again, thank you, Emerson.
All right. And thank you, Mr. Kennedy. And we're going to miss you. And just remember, don't be a stranger and come back.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Kennedy, it's Tommy Doubleday. It's been a little bit. I just want to say congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. I always had fun in your classes, whether it was guitar or keyboarding. You were an awesome teacher and made class fun every day, and I looked forward to coming to your classes. So once again, I just want to say congratulations on your retirement.
Hello, Emerson. Anna here, and bye, Mr. Kennedy. Really enjoyed learning about digital music composition in your digital music class, and congratulations on your retirement.
Hey, Mr. Kennedy, congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. It has been such an honor to work with you over the years, and I've loved getting to know you and making music with our students. I wish you a relaxing retirement filled with music and relaxation, and I can't wait to see and hear who you're going to perform with next. I think Hugh Jackman's going to call you any day to come back on tour with him, and I will be there in the front row cheering you on. So keep in touch. Best wishes. Thank you for everything. I love working with you, and I know we'll be in touch. Take care. Hey, Mr. Kennedy, congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. It has been such an honor to work with you over the years, and I've loved getting to know you and making music with our students. I wish you a relaxing retirement filled with music and relaxation, and I can't wait to see and hear who you're going to perform with next. I think Hugh Jackman's going to call you any day to come back on tour with him, and I will be there in the front row cheering you on. So keep in touch. Best wishes. Thank you for everything. I love working with you, and I know we'll be in touch. Take care.
Hello, Emerson. Welcome to our third part in our four-part series of Better Know a Retiree. Today, kicking it with Kennedy. Hope you enjoy.